Before I tell you anything, I want to show you something simple. Imagine you are making AI to generate photos for you. You type just one word, CEO. What do you think you will see? Probably a man in a suit, maybe standing in front of a boardroom. Now let's check. And now let's change just one word. You type the word nurse. What do you think you will see? Probably a woman in scrubs, maybe with a stethoscope around her neck. Now let's check. Raise your hand if you expected exactly this. See? Bias didn't start with algorithm. It started with us. About what we imagine when we hear these words. AI didn't invent this pattern. It just copied it, pixel by pixel, from the world we gave it. And that's the truth we need to face. AI isn't a neutral machine, it is a mirror. And sometimes that mirror shows us the ugliest parts of ourselves. And the first time I tested it, I remember, does AI really see this world? I thought. And then I realized this is not AI's imagination, it's our imagination. So let's ask, when systems optimize, who gets replaced? And the answer isn't random. It's the roles society has already undervalued. Take the pandemic as an example. We called delivery drivers, cleaners, nurses, essential workers. We clapped for them from the balconies. But once crisis faded, many of them were still underpaid with no security or career path. And they were essential in crisis, but disposable in recovery. Now let's look at the workplace. In 2018, Amazon built a recruiting AI to screen online software building resumes. And what happened? The system learned to downgrade resumes containing the word women's, like women's chess club, and even penalized graduates from women's colleges. Which means it literally penalized women for being women. Why? Because historically, the majority of Amazon's hires in tech were men. AI didn't invent this pattern. It simply encoded the history into its model. And what do these stories reveal? That AI bias is not new. It is inherited. Structural bias, like undervaluing certain jobs, becomes social bias, and social bias becomes personal belief, and personal belief becomes training data. So AI doesn't just automate work, it automates the judgments of who we already value less. But bias doesn't announce itself in its headlines. Sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it's invisible until we feel it. Let me demonstrate. I think both sides should listen more and understand each other. Now let's compare to this. This is outrageous! How can anyone believe in such nonsense? Which one sounded more alive? And which one would the algorithm push to the top? And let me ask you, which one would you stop to read? And which one would you just scroll past without thought? And that's exactly how algorithms make choices for us. In fact, Facebook once programmed its systems to give the angry emoji 5 times more weight than a regular like. Which means posts that provoked outrage spread far faster, even if they were misleading. And a study from NYU found that Publishers that spread misinformation got 6 times more engagements than credible news outlets. And now consider job seekers. Many of them today face AI-based, AI-driven interviews. And one applicant told The Guardian, it felt like talking to Siri. The system moved on when they paused, ignored their tone, and judged them on keywords alone. Imagine being turned down because you paused 2 seconds too long, not because you couldn't do the job, but because nuance was invisible to the machine. It's a bit like TOEFL speaking test, pause too long and the system quietly deducts your score. And this isn't just a test. This is your livelihood. And so true fairness cannot mean treating everyone the same, because sameness under distortion is still unfair. And these cases put together show a pattern: calm voices buried, anger amplified, and nuance ignored. So true fairness cannot mean treating everyone the same, because sameness under distortion is still unfair. True fairness means noticing people who is misjudged, like women's resumes, and who is silenced, like calm voices and thought voices online, and designing systems that can hear them. By now, all this might sound distant, like something happening somewhere far away. Algorithms, systems, bias, like something happening in a world of engineering and code. But this isn't far. It's right here, in the choices around us, about how we design and to trust. A few weeks ago, when I went to Hong Kong to take the SAT, I saw it for myself. At the airport, everything looks so automated. And at first I thought, this is what the future looks like. Fast, efficient, and frictionless. And by the way, if AI could optimize everything, it should probably start by optimizing my speech. So, let me wrap up by saying AI mirrors our past. Fairness is what we choose next, through transparency, inclusion, and responsibility. This is all I want to share today. Thank you for listening. Just kidding. See? Efficiency achieved. But that's the paradox of efficiency. When everything is faster, we risk losing what's slower, but more human. And then I looked back at the airport. Surprisingly, I see all the staff were gone. Many of them, especially older workers and women who used to do repetitive scanning, were now helping passengers, guiding travelers, and comforting people who looked lost. And that moment made me realize technology does not erase people. Design does. For decades, we built machines to replace humans, and now we've got a chance to build them to empower humans. As MIT professor Eric Brian Johnson once said, the true potential of AI isn't to copy what we do, but to amplify what we are capable of. When AI replaces, it measures us by output. When AI empowers, it measures us by contribution. And that's the difference between automation that takes over to the collaboration that transforms. And around the world, we are already seeing what this collaboration can look like. First, transparency. Systems must explain themselves. In the Netherlands, thousands of families were wrongly accused of childcare fraud because of an opaque algorithm. But if the system is required to explain itself, those lives wouldn't have been shattered. Next, inclusion. Systems must include those at the margins. the Amazon's AI recruiting tool once downgraded women's resume just because it learned from a male-dominated past. And true fairness means restoring visibilities to those the data forgot. And last but not least, responsibility. Whoever builds or deploys AI must be accountable. The EU's AI Act once fines companies when their systems discriminate, turning fairness from a suggestion to a responsibility. And beyond laws, UNECISO's Global Ethics Framework reminds us transparency, inclusion, and responsibility aren't just technical standards. They are human values. But as we build this partnership with AI, another question quietly rises behind it. If AI now gets to decide who gets a job, who gets remembered, and who gets ignored, then it's no longer just our partner. It's becoming the referee of fairness itself. And for centuries, the struggle for fairness has been about balancing power between humans, men and women, rich and poor. Then, the next question is unavoidable. Should AI one day hold rights equal to humans? And if not, how can we make sure our rights are quietly replaced by machine defaults? This isn't just my question, it's our question. If we stay silent, AI will answer it for us. But if we act together by demanding transparency, inclusion, and responsibility, then we'll still have the power to choose the defaults. Because fairness is not a feature, it's a choice. And the choice is ours. Thank you.